All right, welcome back to Let's Talk Recovery. I'm Ryan Nolan. Today I'm honored to welcome Beth Grover. She's 35 years old from Delco, Pennsylvania. She's currently working on 90 days sober. She's here to share her journey with opioids, her upbringing, her perspective on life, and overcoming homelessness. Beth, I appreciate you being here, and we can open up with you taking the floor.
Well, thank you for having me.
I
This is so
appreciate it.
exciting to have this opportunity. So I guess I want to start off with my childhood, because that's kind of where things started in life for me, as far as, learning about addiction, and seeing what it's like as far as family dynamics and things like that. I grew up in a Christian home
Okay.
where I learned about God. I went to church every week. My parents were pretty strict. They homeschooled us, my sister and I. We were homeschooled. I went to private school off and on, but for the most part, I was homeschooled. So that was interesting. Um, we had a little co-op at my church I grew up in, and we had people coming to the house weekly to learn history or science and things like that.
Right.
So I definitely had friends back there in my childhood, but um, it was, yeah, socially, it was a little bit difficult. Um, but my
Was it
mom,
was
yeah,
it
go ahead.
hard growing up being homeschooled? Like, did that keep you like segregated from other kids? Like, what was that like, not being in the mainstream like school district, so to speak?
It was hard. People have different backgrounds with homeschooling. There's some homeschoolers that are allowed to go into a school and do things like music or play football, things like that.
Mhm.
But my mom, I started dance when I was 4, so that was kind of like my outlet to get things out and
Mhm.
um, have something to focus on. But it wasn't part of any school or anything like that. Um, but yeah, I mean, so socially, I definitely struggled.
Okay.
Like the whole time. Um, because there was people in my life that I thought like, okay, I'll have them forever, and it
Mhm.
just didn't happen like that. And there was a lot of cliques, a
Right.
lot of cliques. Church in general had cliques, and then homeschooling had its own thing. And then, I mean, there was times where I was sitting by myself.
Because I know
Um,
most people homeschool their kids to kind of keep them away from the exposure of other, things that kids get exposed to, like, drugs and stuff like that and whatnot. Just, they try to keep them out of the loop to try to help them proceed in a positive way. But what do you think about that? Do you think that
yeah,
helped you at all? Or, I
it
mean,
did. It definitely did not help me.
right. Okay.
Um, I knew of people that I grew up with, specifically got into alcohol and drugs because they didn't feel supported within our co-op or things like that. Like it was almost like I definitely felt like an outsider. I didn't
Right.
feel like I was fitting in. Um, I had people that were in public school that wanted me to go do things, or I wanted them to like do things in my church, and they just weren't able to.
Right.
Um, so that was hard. And then on top of that, my dad was an alcoholic, and then he eventually got addicted to. Well, he hurt his back in '96, and he got addicted to the lidocaine patches.
Mhm.
The I don't know, and he would lick the lidocaine patches.
Were they fentanyl patches or lidocaine patches?
They might have been fentanyl
Okay, they're yeah, because I remember fentanyl patches had a thing where you could put them
back
in your
then,
mouth.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it might have been that too. He might have done both, who knows? But
Yeah.
it was probably fentanyl. Um, because he got addicted to that, then he got addicted to pills. Um, he was then it was weed.
Mm.
I mean, there were so many times where I mean, as a child, I did not know that if your parent throws, um, you know, silverware or plates in the sink, that that was violence. Like I
Right.
didn't know what violence was. I didn't know I was in the middle of that domestic violence.
So that was your first experience with some sort of use in the family was in
Yes.
'96. Okay.
Um,
All
and I
right.
had other family members. It wasn't just my dad. It was like my dad and his whole family addicted to something and some other substance. Um, his brother, my uncle, he was um, addicted to cocaine and things like that. So he was, in jail a lot. Um, but yeah, I kind of always said no. And then I guess it was like in my early 20s is like when I started really, getting into alcohol and drinking a lot. Didn't really know I had a problem
Mhm.
probably until I turned like 29, 30.
Okay.
Um, and I even denied that. I was like, no, I'm good, no problem there.
Right.
Um, but when I got shit-faced drunk at a party, I was like, that's not me. That's not who
Right. Did it
I was
start
really hurt.
out? Did it start out like just on the weekends or here and
Yeah,
there or like with friends and then progressively got worse?
yeah. It progressively got worse. So to kind of go backwards a little bit,
Hmm.
um, I had a lot of health issues. I was a preemie, so I had a lot going on health wise.
Hmm.
Um, so, and even like chronic pain and things like that. But I had one therapist I saw, and she told me, I was an alcoholic.
Right.
Um, and I was starting to use pills too. Um, and that was even like a few years ago. And I kind of shrugged it off and was like, yeah, but I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, a lot of times people can see in us what we can't see in ourselves.
Yeah,
And it's a lot easier to identify things outside the box than when you're actually living it, and
exactly.
denial is a big thing in addiction.
Huge.
Yeah.
I so I think it was November of 24. I had really bad pancreatitis, and I know that's really from alcohol and things like that. And I was drinking pretty heavily then,
Yeah.
not extremely heavily, but pretty consistent. But I told the doctors like, oh no, it can't be alcohol, blah blah blah. But that's when I started getting addicted to the morphine, um, and Dilaudid. I was getting it in the hospital around the clock for days at a time.
Right.
Um, and that's kind of what started. It was around October of 24, um, when I was like in and out of the hospital. Um, and that's when I knew like, all right, I have a problem because I kept going to the hospital. Um, and all I had to say was, oh, I've had pancreatitis, and the doctors would just give me morphine. I mean, it was easy access
Right.
each time. Um, the hospitals really didn't catch on that it was becoming an addictive thing. There was a couple doctors that questioned it, and I just was like, no, I'm just, I'm uncomfortable, blah blah blah. But my family saw it. Like they were just like, oh my God, Beth, you're in the hospital again. What the F? Like they totally caught on to me.
So it wasn't something that you necessarily learned as you like when you were younger. Like
Yeah,
it kind of developed in your the middle years, like your 20s or 30s, and then
right.
just progressed from there. Because I know for me, like it was something I learned in my teens and then
Uh-huh.
got worse from there, you know. So it's not with and what I'm noticing is like it didn't happen until later on, and then it
Right,
became an issue. And the
right,
doctors want to always throw medicine at somebody, right? And that's
right.
so yeah,
Um, and till this day, I think I could still, go to the hospital and then be like, oh yeah, here you go, Beth, And so it's scary at this point, in my recovery because it's like, oh my God, if I go back to the hospital and they give me something for pain, I can't do that anymore.
right.
Um, so, I do have doctors even now like that are working with me and trying to figure out, I still have stomach issues.
Mhm.
Um, but just trying to find a better way to um deal with discomfort.
Do you actually tell the doctor that you're an addict or that you have issues with pain meds, or do they know like when they're dealing with you?
I have before. Um, the last time I had a procedure recently, and I told them, I was on Suboxone at the time, so I
Mhm.
had to tell them, I'm on Suboxone.
Yeah.
And they didn't judge me, which felt really good
Mhm.
because I think the first initial thought in your head is like, oh my God, I'm going to be judged, like
Right.
right away.
Yeah.
And they weren't judgmental. They were like, okay, and
Right.
they just kept it going. Um,
Did the Suboxone work for pain or for what you were going through at the time, other than like a crutch for addiction? Or
um, yes and no. Um, I felt like my mood was definitely off a little bit, maybe.
right,
Um, so like right now I'm not on it. I ran out and just kind of took myself off of it.
right,
Um, I think it helped with cravings for
yeah,
sure.
hmm,
Which is basically what it's there for. But there was at least two times I was on Suboxone where I was given the wrong dose
right,
and ended up in the hospital. So, um, I just had to be careful with how much they give me.
right. Would you recommend it to somebody who's trying to get clean that
Oh,
might need a
yes.
transition? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's definitely helpful. I had when so kind of going back to my journey,
Hmm.
um, so I realized I kind of had a problem September of last year,
Hmm.
2025, with the morphine and things like that. I was like, I'm going to the hospital way too much. This is ridiculous. And my good friend of mine was like, and she's in recovery, and she was like, Beth, you need to go to rehab. That's it. Like, it's okay that you're addicted or you're questioning it. Just go to rehab. You'll feel better.
Yeah.
So, I went to rehab in October, um, for 30 days. And I think I can say where it's from. I went to Brookdale.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
and they're like a premier recovery place in PA in the mountains.
Yeah. I know exactly the place. I went to Alpine Springs. Do you know? Have you heard of it?
I think so.
It's in Linesville, PA,
Oh, okay,
over
okay,
by
yeah,
Ohio border. Yeah, they're great. Yeah.
yeah.
I've heard of Brookdale. Yeah. Yeah.
Brookdale was wonderful.
Yeah.
However, I had a therapist that I didn't get along with very much,
Mhm.
but and even my boyfriend was like, "You put up with that?" And I'm like, "Yeah." But
Right.
no, she meant well. She
Mhm.
did mean well. She said, Beth, you need to go to sober living. Like, that's what you have to do. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to go back to work. What are you talking about?
Right.
But so I went from there, I went to all women's sober living.
Mm.
Um, and that didn't work for me, um, personally.
Right.
Um, to have all these different personalities in one
Yep.
house, I just there was cameras everywhere, like you could see the
Mhm.
cameras and all. I don't know. It just was not for me. So I did relapse. Twice. I
Did
think
you feel like you had to relapse to get out of there, or did it just kind of work its way into a relapse?
it kind of worked its way into a relapse for
Okay.
sure. Um, I didn't. I think I relapsed almost 3 times. The third time they said I had to go to another place.
Right.
So, um, but
So
I was
so you relapsed and then you
twice.
stayed there?
I stayed. Well, yeah, I relapsed. I stayed there for a little bit longer. During that time, though, I found out my mom had cancer. Um, which now she's fine.
Right.
Um, and then she had, well, she has, it's uterine cancer. So you just have to get surgery and then it's better
Yeah.
type of thing. And then I found out my grandmother passed. And I think that threw me through a loop. Um, and so I was like maybe struggling with that. Um, on top of feeling uncomfortable with where I was at. So maybe, yeah, maybe that was my way to get out of there. Um,
Right.
but I honestly thought that I don't know, like because I said my stomach was bothering me, they would have let me stay longer. I don't know. But anyway, she sent me like literally that night. I had to like get discharged. I think it was that night. I like packed my things and I knew I had to leave like the next morning. So that was interesting. And I felt bad. I was embarrassed.
Mhm.
Um, but I was like, this is just not for me.
Right.
They sent me to Revolution Recovery, which is an amazing sober living in New Jersey. It's right in South Jersey, kind of near Glassboro,
Okay.
maybe 15 minutes away.
What was the name of that?
Revolution Recovery.
Oh, okay. I think I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're so good that like it didn't even feel like I was having to share anything. Like they had a basement where they had like the big screen TV and all that.
Mhm.
Um, they had I had my own room, which made a huge difference.
Mhm.
Um, I had my own bathroom, so that was really nice. And then the therapist there was kind of like the one I had at Brookdale, but she was right on the money.
Yeah.
I relapsed a couple times when I was there again. I found out my dad passed in January of 2026.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you. Um, but after that, I think that just kind of threw
Okay.
me through another loop of,
What what did a day look like there? Like, did they make you go to meetings and stuff like so many a week? And did you
yeah,
have to prepare meals for other residents and stuff like that? Or how did that?
yeah. So that experience, um, they, I didn't even know this, but they gave us, when you're in PHP, you got a $75 gift card each week to Aldi's. So that was extremely helpful to have.
What is PHP if our viewers don't know what that is? Because I'm not
Sure.
sure I even know.
It's a partial hospitalization program.
Oh, okay.
So what that meant was it's more intensive, so you have to go like the full 5 days a week. And actually, it was 6 days a week.
Oh, okay.
It was Monday through Saturday, um, for 6 hours a day.
Okay.
So it
Yeah.
was very intensive. Um, and you have all these like group therapy sessions. I think you have maybe, yeah, once a week, I think you got a therapy session,
Yep.
which really wasn't a therapy session. You're kind of just sitting there making sure things are okay while you're there. I didn't feel like I really got into anything deep with my therapist while I was there. Um, but maybe other people did. But met some really great people.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, as far as meals, there was girls that um, you know, fed themselves, but also made food for everyone else.
Right.
Um, but sometimes I didn't eat what they eat, so I just kind of ate what I wanted, what I bought. Um, and I was also on short-term disability at the time, so I was making less. So it was kind of like I was really relying on the $75 a week to like get food.
Yeah.
Um, but honestly, I didn't feel like I was struggling to eat or anything like that. It just felt really easy.
Mm.
Um, and but the girls felt like sisters. I mean, it was really like a sisterhood there. Um, and I'm still in contact with some of them
Mm.
actually.
That's
So
good.
that's really nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So you were able to build kind of like a support network or a fellowship of people. Being that it was in New Jersey, they're kind of far away. Was there anybody from your area, or are they all from?
Well, there was, yeah, pretty much people from all over.
Oh,
There
okay.
was one guy that was from Delco that lived 10 minutes from me. So that was really cool. We were the only people from Delco. There was people from New York. One was from Massachusetts, like Florida area.
Okay.
Um, there was people I met from like Georgia or something. I don't know,
Okay.
some southern state. So they
Yeah.
had this like thick accent and everything. So, I mean, it was really interesting, the people that I met. There was one guy I met who was like this big muscular guy. Um, and he stood up for me.
So,
Like sometimes the therapists were like really tough on me, and he was like, "Oh, do you want me to just talk to them, Beth, for you?" And I was just like, "No, no, no, I'm okay." I'm
yeah,
okay.
a lot of times those counselors they come in with whatever is going on in their home life and
Right.
they take it out on their clients and not realizing that people that are in there are fighting for their lives, literally trying to avoid a relapse because nowadays you don't know what you're going to get. It could be your last use if you were to relapse. So and they say in recovery that one addict helping another is like the best medicine because nobody understands us like another addict. So that's good that,
That was huge. And the issue was, now I remember the issue was, I went to a primary doctor. They had me go to a primary doctor to start MAT, which is medicated assisted treatment.
mhm,
And basically, I had an option, Suboxone, or I think I was already on. I was already on the what's the one for alcohol? I forget what
Vivitrol
it's. Yeah. No, no, that's the shot. Um, the pill.
and
Something.
abuse.
No, the N one. I think it starts with an N.
No,
Naltrexone.
naltrexone.
Naltrexone. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was on naltrexone, and then I was like, well, it's not really doing anything. I was still relapsing. I was like, this thing is not working for me. Why am I on it?
right.
Um, and then I was like, let me go to the doctors and see if we can get on Suboxone. And so she started me on 4 milligrams of Suboxone, and for whatever reason, I got very um, intoxicated with that. I don't know how to
Right.
say it. It was way too much, so they sent me to the ER because I was, I don't know,
Sick. It was probably
very sick. Yeah, I wasn't
yeah, it
myself.
wasn't your therapeutic dose. It was probably too much.
It was way too much.
Yeah,
2 milligrams was good. 4 was too much. But so they thought that was like a relapse, so they treated it like a relapse.
right.
I had to do PHP for a week and then go back. Actually, it was more than a week. I think it was a couple weeks, and then go back to doing IOP
Yeah.
before I left, and then I relapsed again before I left. And my therapist was right. She was like, "You're not ready to leave.
Mm,
If I had my choice, you wouldn't be going back to work." Um,
right.
and I relapsed 2 other times. Um, Trying to think. So like that was really hard to hear because I was like, I thought I was ready to go back to work, and I wasn't.
Mhm.
Um, so then, um, yeah, like going through going through treatment, I learned that you have to do things when you're ready to do it.
Right.
Um, there was a time where I was like, yeah, I'm not ready for, I was really nervous going to Revolution Recovery. Um, but the girls were like so nice and we got along. Um, and things happen, life happens, even when you're trying to do recovery.
Yeah.
And I didn't really get that, like life be life in, and
Yeah.
it's just things happen out of your control. Um, the biggest thing that got me clean was going to Pyramid, and I don't even know where it was in PA.
Yeah, I've heard of Pyramid. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like somewhere. I think it's near like Harrisburg or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, but that was a wake up call.
Mhm.
Um, I didn't have insurance, so after I went back to work, they took away my job. So basically, I was a kindergarten teacher assistant. And because I was out for so long, they said, we can't keep your actual position. You're going to have to be a floater.
Mm.
And then they had me with the 2-year-olds. And I was like, not
Yeah.
happening.
Right.
I'm out. And I just physically couldn't do it. I had a really bad back, and I was just like, I'm not. I just physically can't do it. I told my mom, I said, I gotta leave this place. So I lost that insurance. Then I relapsed. Um, and my mom's friend, who is, she's a public defender, and her husband, into the Delco area, is very involved in recovery. And she was like, Beth, you need to go to rehab. Just like
Hmm.
restart. You gotta go back to rehab. So I didn't have insurance. I went to MVP Recovery in Media, well, Chester area. Um, I went in. I spent almost 8 hours trying to figure out where to go for them to just
Right.
get me a bed. Um, so I wish that there was more resources
Mhm.
in our country as far as if you don't have insurance or if you do have insurance, just more access.
Right.
Um,
So
but they
you had insurance through your job, and then obviously that canceled, so
got
that
cut.
that jammed you
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
Yeah. I even tried getting back with Revolution Recovery, and they were like, Beth, you need insurance. And I was like, okay. So I knew that couldn't be an option. So they took me to Pyramid, and it was probably one of the worst experiences I had. I never been to jail, but it felt like jail. Um,
Right.
Things were locked down. Um, Girls were all together in one area, guys are in the other area. The food was not so great. And you only had 30 minutes to eat, which I've never been to somewhere where they made you eat so quickly.
Yeah.
Um, I felt very uncomfortable. My roommates were great.
Right.
They were great. Um, and but just the disrespect as far as when you're in a group setting, like everyone was talking over each other. It was just very, you couldn't get a hold of your therapist.
Right.
Um, so that was difficult. And I actually AMA'd there.
Right.
I was there maybe, I think my third day. So it would have been like my second full day. I was just like, I gotta sign the paper. I gotta get out of here.
Right.
And I left like 2 or 3 days after that. And I was like, I am never going
Right.
back ever, ever,
Right.
ever again. Um,
Did you
yeah,
were you able to stay clean after you AMA'd?
yes.
See, I tell people that all the time. Just because they leave a rehab doesn't mean that they have to use or
I
whatever.
think that was yeah, that was May 7th. I got clean April 23rd. But I still went to rehab, left, but I was like, yeah, I'm never going back. Like,
Right.
ever, ever.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you were able to stay clean, though. I mean, so many people think that because they leave that, oh, I AMA'd, they now I gotta get high or drink or whatever the case may be, but that's just not the case. You can today is the first day of the rest of your life, like you don't have just
Right.
because life is lifing, like you said,
Yeah,
doesn't mean you have to use over it. So
absolutely. I think that's like the hardest thing that I've heard. Um, yeah, that it's just kind of like a cycle, but I'm like, it's, rehabs are there when you need it, but I think
mhm.
having a good program, my friend got me into NA,
Yep.
and that's been super helpful.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't go religiously like I should be. Like, it's not like, I don't even think I've gone maybe like a week or two without going to a meeting. But it's definitely helpful to have people that are like, I know exactly what you're going through.
Right.
So after I left rehab, my sister kind of talked to me and said, yeah, you can't stay with me after June. I'm getting rid of the lease. Um, and I'm starting over. So you're on your own. And my mom was like, yeah, you're not staying with me. Like, no. Even though I was clean and I was doing the right thing, I was also jobless. Um, but it sounded like they didn't care if I was in my car,
Right.
living out of my car. And I literally hit up everybody on my Facebook, like, hey, can I stay with you?
Hmm.
And I would have thought that people from church would have been like, oh yeah, Beth, you're like, we'll help you out.
Right.
Um, I had maybe two people that were like, yeah, let me help you out.
Right.
Um, that I, could try to get some kind of housing. I
Right,
also,
because here you are, you just had got clean, you've been clean for a little bit, you're trying to do the right thing, and then you go, that's like a big shock, you didn't, and life has a way of hitting you from the blind side or whatever, like, and
yeah,
I've actually been there. I know exactly what you're talking about, and
yeah,
it
it
can
was,
be, what do you call it? It can be like, I don't know, just a negative force that,
oh, it was so negative. I felt so suicidal. Like I've never felt suicidal like that before.
right,
Just really depressed. I was crying a lot. Um, so the last 2 months was very stressful. Um, but I was like, I knew I couldn't get high. I was like, I got this. I can do this. Um, and I got a job like 5 minutes from where my mom lives, and we were on vacation, so that probably helped a little bit.
right,
But my mom was like, okay, yeah, you can stay with me. Okay. I mean, she had a little bit of a sigh, but it was kind of like, okay, I can stay with you.
right,
She went on vacation. Well, it wasn't vacation, it was a mission trip she went on. And I was like, I'm moving in. So I had a friend help me
okay,
move in and stuff. Um, so I'm very blessed to have a bed to sleep on. And my mom and I are like, we're starting to talk to each other better.
hmm,
I have a lot of resentments
hmm,
towards my mom and my sister, um, that I didn't realize until my friend in recovery was like, Beth, you have resentment. Now you can work on it, just do the steps, but like, you
right,
have a lot to work on. And
yeah.
I was like, okay, because I was pretty mean to my sister. I still have issues with her, but we sat down the other day and talked it out. Um, but I'm trying to just let her do her thing, let me do my thing. She also told me, my sister also told me, she was like, not only that I could be homeless, but that she wanted to be on her own phone plan. So she did her own phone thing. I called AT&T and said, my sister wants, she did her own thing. She wants me to finish paying off her phone and iPad. And my mom helped me out with that bill, but it was like, phones are expensive.
Mhm. Yes, they are.
It's
Yes,
yeah,
they
so that
are.
was a huge like slap in the face. Kind of it happened so quickly. Um, but yeah, I think I'm just learning how to give more grace to
Mhm.
people.
The you mentioned resentments there, and I know in the NA program, like through having a sponsor and stuff like that, and working the steps. I know your friend mentioned it. Were you able to work through those resentments, and do you have any like reservations that you know of? Were you able to work through that? That's kind of like a first step thing towards recovery.
Yeah, I mean I think I'm still working through it. I haven't really done the steps yet, but I'm, praying helps
Hmm.
to my higher power or
Hmm.
whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Um, you know, um I guess just having patience. I feel like I had to have way more patience than I did before. Um, yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm still working through it, but I feel like it's gotten easier.
Hmm.
Um,
They
a little bit.
say they say in early recovery that like worry is a lack of faith in your higher power. And we have to have the ability to take action when we can, and then just have faith that it's going to work out, and that's hard early on because we're still getting used to not using. Because I know for me, I used to use over anything. If my beard wasn't right, I would go get high over it, literally anything that happened. So I learned to get rid of my reservations, just knowing that I can't have any sort of mind altering substances other than maybe MAT would be the only thing that and that I only just have to stay clean for just today. I don't overwhelm myself with other stuff. But have you been able to incorporate anything like that in your daily routines, or how do you typically stay clean from day to day? Is
So
it a
today
miracle?
it's a it's not quite a miracle. Well, I mean, if you want to call it a miracle, I think every day is a miracle.
I know
We're,
what you mean. I know what
we're given a gift from God that we can do one day at a time. But like even today, I was thinking about, our conversation and things like that, and what I've gone through in the last at least year and a half.
you mean.
Um, and I'm always like, all right, Beth, it's not worth it. It's not
Mhm.
worth it. Like, take a chill pill. It's not worth it. Um, and realizing all the hardships that will go with it. Like, I remember this was a few months ago, but my boyfriend's like, yeah, if you go to the hospital again, like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I can't do it. I
Right.
can't deal with it. And to hear that was really like, it kind of woke me up. Like,
Yeah.
you don't even have a chance to go to the hospital. Don't even try.
Yeah.
Um, we had, and I don't know. I mean, I had a drink the other night. It was with my boyfriend and his parents.
Mhm.
His parents don't know I'm in recovery.
Okay.
Um, but I didn't feel like I was getting, intoxicated
Right.
or um, emotionally drinking.
Right.
And I know some people in recovery would feel like, oh, Beth, you relapsed. What are you doing? Da, da, da,
Right.
But yeah, I didn't feel, I only had one glass of wine. It wasn't like I was having two or three or four.
Right.
I had one. Um, so that's always a controversial thing in the rooms, I think.
Right.
Um,
I mean,
but
addiction is a disease, and it's the only disease that lies to you and says you don't have one. And
right,
it'll rent space in your head and talk, we talk ourselves into being able to pick up that one, or whatever, and it's like we don't scold somebody who has cancer for having cancer. Do you understand what I mean? Like, don't look at
Right.
as you having a drink as like you don't scold the person. You regroup and you move on. You learn
Right.
from it and move on. That's all.
Right.
You don't
Yeah.
dwell on it.
Yeah, exactly. I think also like the stigma of like addiction has, you know, changed within time.
Hmm.
Meaning like I think it's harder to get pain medication.
Hmm.
And to have doctors be like, "Oh yeah, you really are in pain. Let's give you something." Um, but it's also scary because I think there's laws in place now where they have to give you pain medication. Like if you're really in pain
Yeah.
or you say you're really in pain, they have to give it to you.
Right.
No questions asked type
Mhm.
thing. So I
And
think that's
and there is
changed.
a difference between taking medicine that's prescribed by a doctor, and taking the whole bottle. If
Right.
you are terminally ill or if you're ill and the doctor prescribes a medication, even after you tell them your situation, that's okay. When
Yeah,
addiction becomes secondary to whatever you're going through, medication is absolutely necessary. That's just how I feel about it. But
exactly. Um, yeah, I've had friends tell me like, yeah, you shouldn't be, you gotta tell them no pain medications, this and that. I'm like, why would you
mm,
sit and suffer when your tooth's, obliterated or whatever,
mhm,
or you just had your tooth out or something like that? That's something you use pain medication for.
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, I totally get that.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely changed.
Yeah. So when you interact with your doctor, I mean, are you seeing a doctor on a regular basis for MAT or are you done with MAT?
Um, I wouldn't be against going back on MAT.
Oh, okay.
I just lost insurance,
Oh, right.
and that kind of screwed me up. Um, but I'm not against it. Um, I didn't have any like terrible side effects from not taking
Mhm.
it.
Right.
But I know some people who have higher doses
Mhm.
probably would
Mhm.
feel
What
sick and things like that.
what would you have to say to somebody who's out there watching this that's struggling right now, who maybe is sitting in the alley, just broken and wanting to do something different, or maybe getting ready to go to rehab? What would you say to them right now if you had a chance to say something to
You're not alone. A lot of times we feel like we're alone and we
them?
have no one to talk to. Um, you know, yes, family is not necessarily our best friends at all times.
Mhm.
But sometimes you just need someone to talk to.
It's true.
Um, and it might be a hardship right now,
Mhm.
but you'll see another side. Like things will get better. Um, and it might take time. It takes time. It's not overnight. Um, I'm in a relationship with someone who I've been in a relationship for 4.5, almost a little over that, years, and um, you know, he had to be patient with me. Um, he knew I was struggling, and he caught on to it. I'm still waiting to get engaged and have a
Mhm.
wedding and get my
Mhm.
act together. But he had to make sure that I was stable. And it took time. It's not an overnight, like, okay, you get done rehab, um, okay, things will be better. Sometimes we have to deal with our own consequences.
Absolutely right.
And sometimes the consequences are really hard, whether it's jail, whether it's, homelessness,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's being in my car, like whatever hardships there is, it's only temporary.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and, you know, like get plugged in. That's the biggest thing I would tell people. Like get plugged in, get them to um, get those contacts. Like I always thought like, all right, asking someone for their phone number, like that's so awkward. Why would I ever do that? But let me tell you, I have people in here that I could text today and be like, hey, my first day, my new job went great, da, 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 and they'd be so happy for me.
Right.
Um, keep those contacts in rehab and, in the rooms,
Mm-hmm.
because you'll never know when you could use it, whether it's for a ride
Mm-hmm.
or just, hey, I need to talk to you about this. I'm really struggling with this. Um, because there is support out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and building the fellowship, of people that are like us. They can see when we're having a bad day, or if there is a relapse, or a family's having issues, or we're having issues with family, we don't know how to deal with it, reservations, cravings, triggers, anything that we might be going through. Another addict is going to best be able to help another addict through those struggles, and I just would say to somebody that was struggling to just take that first step and get into a rehab. Rehab really helped me. Even if you don't stay the whole time, like I said, you don't have to leave and use. Just go to
Right.
rehab, make that first commitment to change what you're doing. And that's all we can do is just take one day at a time and try to be a better person.
I think also what helped me was just keeping busy.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, now I'm working, but before I wasn't, but I still had to keep my day moving.
Hmm.
Um, going to the gym or, taking a shower, self-care, taking a
Hmm.
shower, getting relaxed, finding a hobby.
Hmm.
I'm still trying to figure out my my hobby. I like going to metal concerts, so
Hmm.
that's my hobby. But metal isn't for everybody.
Right.
But concerts kind of keep me excited. Um, I listen to music in the car. I like to keep it loud,
Hmm.
but just whatever I can do to just take a deep breath. I've learned that it does so well for me. Sometimes I have to go for a walk. Sometimes I have to go for a drive. You know, um, but yeah, keeping active is definitely key.
Let me ask you this. Do you find that the inner critic, like positive self-talk, do you find that you're being harder on yourself or more positive on yourself than you were in active addiction compared to when you're trying to, or when you're like sober? Like, do you find that it works or does it help?
I
Do you
think
know
it
what I
helped.
mean by that?
Yeah, I think it helped like in the beginning of my recovery. Um, I had a therapist that was really into like, look in the mirror, Beth, and say you look beautiful. I'm like,
Yeah, well that
it's
is very
silly.
powerful.
It's silly, but it worked.
Yeah.
Um, I don't really do that too much now, but I'm just like a lady the other day at church, yesterday, gave me a compliment, like, "Oh, you look really nice, Beth."
Mhm.
And I thought, like, "Oh my gosh, like that's so sweet." Like I sometimes don't feel it in myself. It was hard to take that compliment. Um, but maybe they see a change in me. I wouldn't say I was looking wonderful when I was in addiction. That's
Right,
for sure.
right.
So, yeah, I think people can see the change and um, to see that my spirits are like higher and I'm happy and I got things going on. But I think also sometimes my biggest critic to myself is when I have an outburst and I get really anxious and I'm, you know, getting frustrated. And then my mom's like, stop doing that. What are you doing? And then um, she's trying to help me calm down. And then, like if, if I'm not having a good day, it's like, okay, what am I getting so stressed out about? Like,
Right.
and then I feel guilty and crazy. Then you go into that loop of like depression.
Mhm.
But then I think, I kind of look back and I'm like, well, why did I get so frustrated? Like,
Mhm.
um, but it happens.
Yeah,
It happens.
it truly does.
We all have our moments. We're not perfect.
That is correct. That is correct. All we can do is just do the next right thing and keep moving forward. And we learn to be free from the addiction part of the process, like we learn to face life's problems without using over them. And that's ultimately the goal, is to live a better life without the use of drugs, and
Right.
alcohol.
Right.
So, yeah.
That is very true.
Mhm. All right. Well, thank you very much for this interview. I appreciate it. And
Thank you for having me.
yep. And to our listeners, if you like this interview and you want to see more like it, please like, share, and subscribe. Congratulations on working on 90 days, Beth.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you for coming on. Thank
No
you very
problem.
much.
Thank you for having me. Have a good night, guys.
You too.